Was I late?
What do we think, guys? How's the new one? We have a new intro that was made for us. So let us know your thoughts in the comments here. 1, if you like it. 2, if you don't. Let's just go that route right off the gate. Also, good morning.
3, if you think the height equivalent between me and Magic right now is good.
Yeah, there you go. I'll sit up and it doesn't matter. Yeah. I do more charting than trading. How do I get? We'll get to the questions, guys. Let's get through the analysis before we start ranting on topics, because you guys know how I can go off for minutes at a time, and it's usually not great. OC said missed question. Yeah, the intro that we had. Do you like it? Number 1. Number 2, if you want us to go back to the old one or no intro at all. That's it. I'm going to let that go for like a minute. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to rock and roll.
Smells better.
I'm not going to start off on EXO. I was just watching it up here. Watching specifically this level here at 25,120 for me. That's been the level that I've been kind of talking about in the group. It was what we went over in the live stream on Wednesday. So, or Sunday. Was it Sunday or Wednesday we covered this? I can't remember. But we covered this idea of, I know it was Sunday. Yeah, of how we would have found a short through order flow here. And again, the level remains the same for me. Still got to crack 25,120 on like even like a 4-hour basis here. You can see, I think that we could get that next leg up at that time. And then you're just targeting this local high, in my opinion. Right. So that's for me locally what we're looking for any kind of upside. I want to start seeing some closures above this level. Right. Even the hourly shows you. So get that low time frame, draws into like an hourly, medium time frame, could get that push up, make a new high. Obviously 25 to 85, 50 is the current new high. But until that happens, relatively range bound, 24/7 remaining the key level. Blasted through it, came back to back test it right here. And we have new pivots for the week, right? You can see that last night we came down, we filled in this London NPOC, no longer relevant, right here at the China pivot. And we had the London NPOC just beneath at the Bybit pivot, just a couple $100 apart. So kind of a wide discrepancy between them, showing that there was some volatility right here as China markets open, waiting on the US timeframe to get going here on Bybit. So for me, still looking at this as this being the most important week. I've really cleaned this chart up. Reason being is I've marked out 1 week before and 1 week after. Okay. And the reason I have is if we're looking at this the same way we would have looked at this previously, right? And you can see this would have been our high on this one. And again, that sign line looks like this. It's really irrelevant, but we're going to pull it up anyway because we want the visual. So again, you can see that we started peaking around this time frame and even using this as support and resistance. Okay. So if you're looking like for perfection in trading, I always say it, perfection does rarely exist in trading. What you're looking for are actionable ideas that you can formulate a trade bias off of and protect your capital at the same time. So in this case, you saw that this was going to remain range bound. Time said so. Price started saying so as you started sweeping 62. Right, 62K for me was just such an important level right here. If you recall, if you go to the monthly time frame, is a monthly swing fail. So a lot of people were looking at the swing fail of this level here, the all-time high. I was looking at 62K for that confirmation, and you can see when we lost it, down we go. And similarly to that, 24/7 to me is very, very important still. I'm going to get rid of this stuff. So we are watching this line, this time frame, correct, for this week and maybe the week after. Because again, we're not looking for perfect. We're just looking to get the general idea. So still looking at this box as still being a potential for this week, especially as long as we're living above key level of 24/7. You know that I think if we're above 24/7, what happens, guys? We'll go down to the hourly in this case. And we're going to get rid of this sign line. Go above 24/7, what happens? We go to 25K, right? You get the nice $300 jump every time. Okay, so it's not failed to reach 25K anytime it cracks this level and holds it on a back test, right? So that's what we're looking to do, is see how long we can hold this level, consolidate underneath resistance. There's a lot of people looking for a triangle out here. I saw somebody saying this is a double bottom, which double bottoms typically don't occur at resistance like this. That's not generally the case. So I wouldn't be looking for a double bottom here. I'd be treating this more like the potential for some kind of a pennant or triangle, which we don't do any kind of pattern trading necessarily. It's just more important to know, because then you can start looking at things from like an apex standpoint, right? You could say that, this is a triangle and you're looking, to see when it might potentially end. You can see that it starts coming to a point this week, which is our major fib time week. So we'd be either looking for the break up or a breakdown, and you have to be aware of fake outs along the way, of course. So swing failure patterns. And again, that is why we mark our local high, and you can mark your local low, or you can mark this local low if you want to, and you can just play it this way. You're looking to trade this as a range until it is no longer a range. I do still have interest in 22.8 to be upfront with you guys. I still have interest in that level. It's just, it's a big level that I think could provide, a really, really nice trading opportunity from the gold pocket. Now, will that end up being a lower high is yet to be seen. Okay, so I've actually added on like a little bit of color to this so you guys can see it better at home, because I know that sometimes these lines are hard to see on a phone. So, oh man, you're gonna do me like that today. TradingView's giving me fits this morning. There we go. So looking at it like so, and then if we go to our quarterly time frame, which to me is the most prevalent one up until this morning, February also lined up with it, but that has changed. Its POC has drifted upwards and onwards. You are looking at this as the overall point of control as well. So looking at this in the fashion that we are, 22.810 remains the line in the sand. So if we break down from this structure and try to put in a higher low, this is the region of the chart I really want to see it coming from. And I would be playing either an SFP of the touch of the weekly China pivot into the Bybit weekly pivot, or I'd be looking to take this low into this region of the chart and play it from there. I was trying to get my single prints. Up this morning, and EXO was giving me some issues. I don't know if anyone else is still having those issues or not. Jen's pointed it out in the group for everybody. I'm sure they all felt it if they were looking, so they knew. But that is how I'm viewing it. I'm still looking for this area up here. I think you should be aware of the SFP at 25.3. And then it's just a matter of, if we come up to this region, right? Let's say we get through the yearly pivot. Does this become support? We need to see if this range is support. And if so, we can start targeting the upper end of our prior range right here, in my opinion. I think at that point, you've got levels at like 29.8 to like 30,169. But I think if you can hold this as support on like a back test, or just back test even the pivot here, or again, you could even look at this instead of being this range, you're looking at it like so. This wick low from 25,222, so this high side range, right? I think you could then target 32K. And 32K is just as important as any other level. Those are levels that we don't really need to talk about right now. Now, my bias is we are in a range, and we're range bound until we're not. That's really how this works. So if we start breaking above this level, I'm obviously not going to be doing any breakout longs. It's not my type of trading. You guys know that I'm still holding a long from much lower. And every time I close a portion of that leveraged long, I call it de-risking, it goes right back into spot Bitcoin. So I'm still in the asset because I trade inverse perpetual. So I don't feel the need to be opening up new positions necessarily with risk involved like that, or putting more money into the move as I've already got money in the move, right? So this is the area of the chart that we're looking for. We've been looking for this area on this date for well over a month. I put out the idea in December that we could go as high as 26, 27K. Obviously, we haven't achieved that goal yet, or that target, but we've met some pretty important ones. So you should have been able to make some money on it, considering that I started getting long at 16.6 on the break of the weekly swing fail. And I've made all this publicly, even posted when I'm taking profits, locking in intermittent profits, and letting you guys know these are the levels we're looking for. Continue to lock in profits slowly and let this move mature. But at the same time, don't leave yourself in an all or nothing basket. Because I have seen some people that got long similar to mine, and they're like, okay, the bottom is in. We're never going to see these prices again. I'm not closing this long unless I'm never taking profits. I'm going to hold this for the next bull market. I think that's a really bad idea, because there is the possibility that, We don't do something like we did in 2019, which is what everybody wants to happen. I don't know if 4 hour let me go back that far, but we'll find out. Everybody wants this to happen, right? Where we go to 14K. But what if we don't? What if we do a 2015 style, which we have to change charts for that? What if we do a 2015 style? You know, we have to ask ourselves these things. What if we do something not like this, but like this, right? So we've made our low and we make a higher low, but it does come down substantially. And where did it come down off of? If you guys recall, came down off of a front run of the yearly pivot, which is
no
just,
one recalls that, mate. Just you.
I do. Just me.
No
I've covered it several
you.
times, but it is one of those things where this is where that plays out, right? So we had a big drawdown here. This right here shows that you never reached it. So you had a range high and it just remained range bound. So that's the scenario we're working off of. We have to be aware of that if we cannot push through these levels to reach this area, you know, because there is a single print that opens up here. If we get above this level, that takes us to 26,500, right? And then our yearly pivot's just above the 12M1. And then you can see that I've marked out some separate levels here for you guys. For anyone that follows me on Twitter and has been following me for a while, I used to do this thing where I'd post I was just telling Max that Americans talking movie quotes, because I quoted the movie Talladega Nights to Jens earlier, and I don't know if he got it because it's largely an American thing that we do. We pretty much speak in it. It's probably an issue. It's something to do with the poor education here, as Max would say. But you know, we don't have to repeat this. But I put it on there as Dumb and Dumber, where he said you're gonna want to hang on to that one. It's like an IOU, and I had 28,726.50. And if you look at this level, we can't do it on this one. We can because it's oh no, we can. This is Bybit, not BLX. This was the level, right? So you can see right here how well respected it was. It's our June 22nd low. This was the level that I was hanging on to because it was literally a perfect back test. So, and support numerous times. So for me, this is a very important low. If we go out to the daily and we check out the June 22nd low, this was also your major low from this range right here. Okay. And so again, that's where these levels become actionable, is above the yearly pivot and then a back test of our old range here at 25.2, or just no back test at all and it just cuts through the level and keeps going. That's also a possibility. However, be aware, this is why we don't long breakouts, especially if giant ranges like this. Ranges can stay very together for a long time. And you notice how this one did. It took almost the full year to come up and essentially effectively touch 531. It didn't quite get there. So this is a technical front run, which normally you don't see that, right? And the high of it was 501, and this is 531. So we're talking a difference in price of 6%, which on the scheme of things, when you came up over 100% off the lows, technically over 300 or 200% because it went to over $480. You had a little bit of a front run by 6%. That should not ruin your trade. You see what I mean? You shouldn't let 6% of a move keep you from being able to lock in profits. However, in this case, it came down about 30%, set in a new yearly average, and back tested and off you go, right? So very similarly, if we come over to here, how are we playing this region? Again, if we cut through the region, we come back and we back test support, right? This is a yearly pivot from 2019, so same exact scenario. Then we're looking for that additional push. So that's how I'm treating our current situation. You guys can see that I've had this up on this chart for a while. If we claim this level, we can start playing the game, right? And so this right here alone is what I'm most interested in. And I would be interested in longing the flip of this, up to this 30K region, probably up towards the highs of the range. And we don't really know anything until 32K is flipped. And this is why right here, even 38K to me becomes kind of a target. And we covered this last week, but we're going to cover it again this week. So this is why historical price action does matter. I think it matters if you're organized. And you guys know me. I like to say that that's like the first thing in our group when you go through the academy is what's going to set you apart is your ability to stay organized and form good ideas based on actionable data. And this would be very actionable to me. You can see that we have a nice in POC at 38K, and this was the value area high of an old entryway, which was very well respected up and down throughout the range. That would be an area of interest. And then obviously, if you get through there, I think you just take this high personally. I think if you get through 38K, and that's this, again, this is looking way far too forward, but you guys should have the plan and write these things down in your notes if you agree anyway. And know that way you can review it and keep coming back to it and saying, okay, this is my plan. This is my plan. And I'm going to react accordingly if this happens, right? Now, what is above here? There is an MPOC here from December of 2021, I believe. That would be why that's a relevant area above that high, if I recall. Max can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I'm not. 49.039. So that would be the region of the chart I'd be after. And yeah, that's all well and far. You guys now have my high time frame plan mapped out. You know, the difference is going to be how you trade it and how you handle the price action in between. And if we can even get that, because again, we may remain range bound because, well, we don't need to switch charts for this. We have a very nice range here. And if we start giving up that 22,810 level, it begins to look like it's going to come back down towards into this range more. And I lean more towards the idea that we revisit the range low, like right in this region. We don't need to do too much work on it. I believe the Q3 low is in this region. So I'm just going to mark that right here. It's different on the BLX. Gosh dang it. Gosh dang it. There we go. Let's make this a solid line for everybody at home, right? So you start giving up 22,810 and you remain range bound. I'm looking to bring this down into this region and potentially back test the bottom side. One thing to be aware of is obviously you want to always be aware of where your point of control is, right? TradingView, are you really going to do me like this morning? There we go. You've got your POC that comes in here, and depending on how much it shifts, usually you have a gold pocket that comes in here, right? So that's your high time frame plan. You can see it lines up nicely with the POC in the val. I cannot get my shift key to work this morning to draw everything straight across. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe you might need to change the batteries in my keyboard or something. But that's how I'm viewing the market. Still long from 16. Enjoying that down here in this region and looking to see if we fulfill the targets on time. Clout doesn't pay our bills, but it's always nice to make for a clickbait YouTube title. So if you guys see the title today, it's not to be boisterous or anything. It's just because, you know, part of putting out content is playing the YouTube game. And so that's what we're doing. But it's really not clickbaity because this has played out extremely well. You know, the pinned tweet on my Twitter profile for a reason is the first day I publicly said that we could go to this level in the beginning of 2022 or 2023, excuse me. It was on Sin City. It's 60 seconds long. Go watch it. Like the proof is out there. We've been talking about this for a while, and your cues to get long were really just reacceptance into this range. And you had a nice weekly. Let's get rid of all this. Obviously, you had a nice weekly SFP right here, right? So we had weekly SFPs that were just all over the place locally, if you guys recall. And so this is how I was trading this little bit of price action. And this is where I found my position. You go down to the 1 hour. We can run it back now. And it was right in here. See how we deviated below the level? We started closing below it, regarded as resistance, and then we came up back test, and off you go. I'd be curious to see what Max thinks about today's order flow. Today is Monday. It's President's Day. I have my children today. They're out of school. Like they should be eating breakfast or at least done eating breakfast. So for me, I'm not doing any day trading today. I will update my charts though and post that in the group. But you know, realistically, like I said, if we lose 24/7, I probably just look down to this low. I'm looking to take it and probably fill in that weekly pivot that didn't get tapped around like 23. What was it, 6? And then if you lose this low, I am looking towards 28.10 in that gold pocket for the next trade. Otherwise, cautiously just holding my longs and being very patient. Javier said, I've noticed you guys got way better at YouTube titles. Thank you, man. Thank you. And then there was one question before Max gets started. I'm just going to answer this guy's question because it's good for everyone because I do more charting than trading. How do I get through this procrastination? Well, I'll be honest with you. That's a good thing. depending on your level of experience, sometimes charting a little bit more and getting your ideas out there is a good idea. What I would recommend, and I don't know if you're doing this already, but if you aren't, this will actually help with that procrastination wall quite a bit. Go ahead and write out trade plans for every day if you're going to day trade, or if you're looking for more of a swing trade, write out what your plan would be if I was going to take a trade. And it doesn't mean you have to take it, but then you can go back and say, okay, this didn't pan out. This is what actually happened. Maybe here's why. Here was the TA that unfolded. And over time, you know, and it takes consistency in trading and consistency with your efforts. Over time, you will 100% probably get through that wall. And just make sure you're using risk management along the way, not risking too much of your portfolio. It allows you to take trades, not risk-free, but like you have a clear mind, clear head, because you don't have too much skin in the game, or more skin in the game than you're used to or should have. And that will put you on the path to success. There is no shortcut, unfortunately, but you know, if you're doing more charting than trading already, you're not losing any money, and that's a good thing. You know, that's rule number one. You got to have money to make money, and if you're not losing money, that's a good thing. So that's what I will say about that. I'm gonna turn it over to Max.
I would say make a $10 to $100 account and absolutely go ham on your trading plan. Take all the trades so you get into the emotions of it all. So when you're in a trade and it's lingering at your entry for so long, and you're like, just fucking go one direction for me, and it's
This is
not.
a
It's
good
just
idea too.
staying there. It
Just make
gets you
sure that,
through all the emotions and write it all down.
yeah, that's the key. So the point I wanted to make is that when he says that, I think that's really good to use like $10 to $100 or whatever, or even just a testnet account with, you know, fake money in there. I don't care. The most important thing is that you're tracking it and keeping track of what's working and what's not, so that you're not repeating the same mistakes, because you will improve so much quicker. Just like if you have a budget, right? Let's say you have financial goals, you have a budget, you write everything down, right? You have everything down. You have a diet. What do? You track your calories. Why wouldn't you track your trades? So if any of you aren't doing that, you know, your success rate will greatly increase if you do that alone. So I'm done. There you go, Mac.
He's muted himself and he's gone. Okay, so today's been for me a rather slow day of trading. Other than, you know, possibly two trades that one could have taken, it's been, the volume's been really low. The moves have been very slow and compact until, you know, the last hour and a half since New York really officially opened. That's when we've got some volatility now. But looking at the low from last night, you really didn't have a very big open interest drop, which is, you know, it's not a characteristic of a, you know, an important high or low. So 3.4 million, granted it's on negative 9 million delta and a clear delta switch up. You know, these are the things you'd want to see to take a trade, but to make it a, you know, penultimate low, you know, you'd expect more from it. Granted, it was overnight on a, you know, Sunday night, I guess, so you have to cut it some slack. But looking at the open interest that we've currently got, it's very high. And what have we said all throughout the last, you know, couple weeks? When you get high open interest, just look at all the points that you get high open interest. You know, we're literally right here again. And what occurred? Huge drop off. It wasn't as high here, but you know, when you've got high open interest, you get very large moves, and they can take out both sides of the market. And right now, today, we've not really punished the longs at all. There's been no real attempt to punish them. There was the SFP of the London, I guess it wasn't the London low, but of these lows, but it was very minor. And then you get this move up, and the longs have been entering up here, many longs, and they've not really been punished at all. But they had a quick wick here, but it really, it was probably only to take out the over leverage, hence why you've got the finished auction here at the bottom of the candle. But looking at it, you can just see the delta has been on a bit of a tear. So is the open interest. It's also, you know, flown up. The thing is, you have had some shorts enter, you know, so that gives you fuel to the upside. And the fact that you're getting buyers here, you know, it's what you want to see in an uptrend. You'd want to see buyers continue to come in to, you know, keep the uptrend moving. And every time we've come down, all you've done is you've come down and you've found buyers, then we've moved back up. You've come down, found buyers, you've moved back up. So the really important area to hold here is, well, it was a single print earlier, but it's not anymore. It's actually at 24,780 was the single print. And you'd argue it's at this low now. So 24,730. Loss of that is going to be really detrimental to the current price action, because we've got a lot of traders up here. You've got a lot of shorts, I say a lot of shorts. There's only 1.2 million negative down there, but you're getting huge open interest increases. And this is when you get this open interest, this is what's going to occur. You're going to get wicks to the upside, wicks to the downside, taking out both sides of the market, because the market doesn't want to pay you. You have to pay yourself. The market doesn't want to pay you. If you're going to get into a position, it's going to try and take you out of it. So I'm really expecting, it's a difficult one, because, the buyers are coming in and it's making it look good. But I think that chances are, I just don't think it's got the real legs yet to push up higher. And there's just so much liquidity to the downside now. There is, you look throughout today, the majority of the open interest increases are on, aggressive buyers. Some may have paid themselves. Many won't have. There's going to be a lot of liquidity to the downside now. And what's stopping the market from absolutely nuking it and going down to that weekly pivot, which Magic mentioned? There's not really that much there. There's been so many people buying up here. You really do have to think, one, are they doing a good job of moving the price in their direction? That's the thing that you look at Delta for. You look at it and say, okay, are they doing a good job at moving it in this direction? Let's ignore the rest of the price action and just look at this section here. Given how many buyers we've had come into the market and the huge increases in open interest, what would you say? Would you say that the buyers are doing a great job here of moving the price in their wanted direction? You would say no, really, wouldn't you? They're really struggling to push the price any higher, which I'm looking at as, it's pretty bearish. But towards the end of the little move here, you have had shorts coming in, which is why you're going to get these wicks and these SFPs of the highs to take out those shorts, to then dump on the longs. That's how it's going to take out one side of the market, as it has now the shorts, to then dump it and take out the other side of the market that have probably, opened the position and thought, oh, it's a winner. I'm going to walk away from my computer. And then the market's going to take them out later. So really how I'm looking at this right now is, yes, we can come higher. I'm expecting us to potentially get a good swing failure pattern from one of these two. I think you're just going to take the main, the previous week high, I guess we can call it at this point. The current year high sounds even stronger. Take the current year high and then nuke it. I don't really think we've got much legs to go much further. Of course, I can be wrong. If we get that huge expansion of price past that level, then the SFE is not going to be a curve. But if it wicks up and it lingers there for a little bit and then loses it, that's your signal to take the short. So, that can occur here, and I'm kind of expecting it. But looking at what we've got available to us right now, the fact that we've not gone anywhere and this hasn't pushed in the last, however many hours, if it doesn't push in the next couple of hours, chances are it's going to nuke. And it could be pretty heavy, because there's a ton of buys up here. There's going to be liquidity all below pretty much every one of these lows, because it didn't really tap into liquidity, this little move here. There was positions changing hands, but it really didn't tap into like a large amount of liquidity. And then below there, where else are they going to be putting their stop losses? Well, it's going to be down here. You've got a big percentage move. That's what is it, $2,000? Yeah, thereabouts. Is it over? No, just about $2,000 of a move that could happen very fast. And you've seen it, it occurred yesterday towards the end of the day and going into this morning. It really can happen very fast. So maybe this isn't over. Maybe we need one more wick to the upside to, take all the highs and take out all the traders that have been in short and have held the stop losses above the highs. But ultimately, I do expect it to get a pretty fast move down going. Can be wrong, of course, but yeah, that's how I'm looking at it right now. I've not really got too much else to go over. Let's see if anything has been said. Are you there, Magic? You're talking, but you're definitely not.
The mic was muted, so you can tap the top, and didn't realize it was off, as well as muted myself. So absolutely boomered that up.
Big
And
brain
now that I've
move.
adjusted my thing, I'm so close to my camera because it's up here that if I lean into talking to it, you can't see me. So I got to learn to sit back and relax a little bit like Max. He's always chilling over there.
Just got that boom. Can do that, mate. Whoa.
Look at that.
Back.
The big black microphone. Look at that. Look at this guy. Yeah, so got in 2021 in the midst of a bull run. I was fresh out of traditional money and eager to jump in YOLO style. So I rode Soul, ETH, and a couple more on the way up. Yeah, those are good, man. So you can identify those same opportunities. The opportunities are still there. Like I got into DOT at $4. Link I've been DCAing into. Matic was a big one for me. You know, these are things where, you know, you don't need leverage. So don't do anything crazy, especially if you're down to your last 3K. Leverage is out at this point. Leverage is what got you wrecked with those other companies. I know that they were like DeFi stuff, and then FTX took you. But what was the culprit behind all of those collapses was that they were leveraging customers' money, right? So just remember that. You don't need that stuff to get the money back. You're not going to get it back all at once. And you got to remember where we are in the market cycle. I don't necessarily think an all-time high is coming yet. So really what you're doing is you're finding good positions and building equity while you can. So, you know, like one of them was Matic for me. This is another one that I'm eyeballing. I'm going to put out a static video on Loopring, which I know my buddy JC, he's been literally blowing me up about Loopring for like a year. It's one of his favorite coins to trade. And he too is like you. He lost a bunch of money in the KuCoin hack and actually didn't get all of it back, which sucks. You know, and it wasn't like a small amount. It was like 40K. And then he lost, I want to say he lost 100K on an ETH leveraged long when it was dumping down under 2K. And he was like 10X long on a level that he thought was good. No stop loss, riding dirty, lost $100,000. You know, so it definitely happens. And doesn't mean you can't get it back. You just have to stick to the game. So let me pull up that chart real quick and we'll talk a little bit about Loopring, or even like Filecoin has I say these are dog shit charts on the macro because they technically are. You got to think it was like $200 some. It went down to $2. If you were ready though, you had those targets lined out. Same with like Atom. Everything dumped, you know, everything hit those lows, Litecoin, all that stuff. So LRC is the ticker. And let me share my screen. LRC is the ticker. You've come up and you've backfilled this August NPOC right here, right? Perfect touch, cleared the range, and you got a rejection. Now, as a whole, on this one, I'm not in it, but as a whole, this is your global, right? So our overall range looks like this. There's our macro POC at 39,777. So one would suggest that we need to see 39,777 holding. Otherwise, if Bitcoin gets a rejection here and comes down, I would be looking for this gold pocket, and I'm looking for this January NPOC. I'll be buying spot. I'm not going to be doing any leverage trading on this. I'll be adding to a position knowing that even if it goes through this level, I can continue adding or have a stop loss down to this global value area low and good support beneath us, right? So my targets on this one over time look like so. For anyone that's curious and wants to know, I can get rid of this August NPOC in a minute. And I'm going to get rid of these just to clean things up a little bit now that we've got that. But over time, I'm looking for the move back to where, even if it came all the way back to the lows, I'd be looking along this back to the point of control at 39 cents. Even if your average was like right here at 21 cents, it's damn near 100% move, right? So that's what I would do. Go through the charts, start analyzing things. And yeah. And where's CVO? He's in the group. He posts chart updates. He's on every weekly update with us. He has obligations during the day right now that take up his time for the morning. And with the three of us, it really does kind of clutter things up. But he wants to start doing some evening streams. He'll be on cysteine research with Forrest tonight every Monday at 10 o'clock. And he does want to start doing some weekly live streams for the public. But one thing we talked about last night is potentially he does more in-group stuff with, like, for all you guys that are joining that are new, doing something like once a week where he sits down with you guys on an altcoin and we go from zero levels on the chart to a full chart build. And CVO has a great system in place that he's worked on. It's the same one that I showed him. He used to spend an hour every morning with me when we first teamed up to learn this, and he's really kind of honed it in and made it his own thing. So he'd basically be showing you guys how to do that, because charting is the first step, and then order flow, etc. And that will really help out a lot of people, I think. So where would I be targeting on something like Loopring, right? So if I'm looking for this entry, maybe I get it, maybe I don't. Again, I'm only looking for setups that I'm happy with. I'm definitely not buying a move from 18 cents up to 9 cents. I'm not buying right here. It's just not something I can bring myself to do, even if it pumps from here to like 63, right? Which it very well could, because when we look at like our key levels, for instance, you'll notice that we have an untapped key level up here from Q3 last year. And we have a 6-month key level here and a Q1 key level here, backing up the NPOC and the gold pocket, making this box to me a really, really, really attractive place to get along if given the opportunity. So all I've done is I'm going to set alerts on the global POC, right? So I know that if we start breaking down from here, this is going to be my target. I understand it can be front run by these levels. So I'll take that into consideration when I get down there. And you could set like another alert right here if you wanted to, right? And that way you're just keeping up with the price as it's moving. But if it pushes from here, you definitely have resistance up above in this box. This box is coming in at 61.43 cents to 64.3 cents. However, my overall global target would be a full range rotation to the value area high. Also, the 12M1, which you guys know how much we like those. That's what we've based a lot of our thesis on here lately. And then we would be looking for this zone right here, which is your local gold pocket from our impulse high in March of last year when we went to 48K on Bitcoin down to the low. Local gold pocket, yearly pivot, April 22 NPOC, 6M2 as well, another one, another hand generated level, and the value area high. This box becomes a major, major zone for me that if flipped, yeah, we can start talking about some serious levels to the upside, obviously. But until that happens, not really necessarily looking for that. And then if you're looking at this from a horizontal perspective, do we have any horizontals in this region? We certainly do. You can see that the 2017 all-time high, which we identified on Friday, is going to be the region of interest for me. So it's got to take out 2017 all-time high. And if it does, maybe I buy the back test of the support, and that would include Bitcoin ripping to the upside as well. Stop loss below the low, taking it up to 63 cents. That's the only justified scenario in which you'll see me longing this with a tight stop loss, because otherwise, you're just YOLOing at the top, and that's not a good idea. You should always have a stop loss figured out. But that's Loopring. That's one that I am watching. So if you're looking for something to start building back that portfolio, you're like, fuck, dude, this bear market wrecked me. I was involved in all the biggest scams. I lost all my money to FTX and to, what was that? I can't remember, Cell. Yeah, Cell, SCEL. Then for me, I look at it as you're going to want to, continue, like you made your money in alts, continue to trade alts, right? If that's what you're good at and you can start identifying these opportunities, you can start taking chunks back out of the market and building those positions again. Like if you were, let's say you were ready for this and this did play out, we got this pushed down to this low and ended up being a good low. It doesn't go to the value area low. And then it eventually rotates this range to 80 cents. Your average is somewhere around 30 cents. It's effectively turning $3,000 into $8,000, right? With no leverage. And it might take months, but months on a trade like that is, you've beat the market year over year if you're trading at over 10% in most cases, right? That's the whole saying. Imagine being able to take a chunk of that, pay yourself, and then don't do anything with that money right away. Just wait. Find the next opportunity and, go from there. So I don't always do that. I only do it on this one. And the reason I did is because this is like a lot of alts, where this one, I look at what's called an overall picture of the range. Main reason being is you can see that we've made a high, this made a higher high, and then it's come back into this zone. So now all this price action is overlapping. So I'm curious on, hey, what's the overall volume range? One thing you will notice though on this, I only mark these when I'm using something like the VPVR, which is the only instance you'll catch me using the VPVR is for something like a global range. I won't use it for like intraday stuff. I think that's entirely Not the way you should be using volume profile at all, but it's just my opinion. People are going to do it. I think you should be tracking things based on time, obviously, but that's just me. Everyone has a system. What do I do? That's why we pay ourselves incrementally, Elato. Yeah, we can look at a stop loss. Let's go to the quant chart for this. This is our most recent one because I am trading quant as well. Right here. So quant is one I've been trading a lot because it's just a very easy chart to trade and I'm very familiar with it. Still have this area marked because it is still support. Like I said, if we make a dip down, this is still an area I'm willing to buy. However, we've rotated the range low right here. And we went over this one last time, I think on Friday as well. What you notice is that you have a key low here and you even have one right here that you could easily mark out. And we know that our value area low is coming in beneath. So effectively, you've come down, you've closed back above the levels, you've swung failed them essentially, right? You've done it multiple times. So in a scenario like this, let's say you're buying spot here at $129 because price is giving you that opportunity. Your stop loss is going below the low here. So when you're looking for an entry, you could say, okay, I like this. Let's say you don't get the perfect entry. Say it's like right here at like 129.67. My stop loss now goes here, right beneath the low because we've swung fail it. That's how you treat that swing failure. I'm looking to trade it back to the point of control first. That's a 3-to-1, right? And now I'm looking to take it up to 145, which was our key level that we identified using charting techniques. And you can see that you would have got to play both of those. So you didn't actually go to the value area high. If you guys recall, we just had that question. What do you do? Well, you should always be targeting the POC as your first target. And then, major horizontals, and in this case, also the EQ of our regression, take profit too. Now, you don't have to close the whole position at that time. You can then leave some to run to the value area high. And if you think it's going to break out because the rest of the market's going with it, another incremental take profit, and then you take it up to 166, which is our next target, if I recall, right here. And you can see how this trade now has potential. I actually uploaded a clip onto my Twitter as well. I'll pull that up for you. And I actually run you guys through the entire scenario of trading Bitcoin when we went down to 21.3. I literally clipped that and I put it out for you guys because it was a trade setup that had potential. And so I'll show you that right here. And I posted it in the group too, in the general chat section. But this was given on a Sunday right here. And you can see I walk you through all of the targets and walk you through how you would look for entry. Even drew a little squiggle for you guys over time. I believe it's like right here, somewhere in this region, not to do that, but it shows you what you're looking to do and how you would be setting a stop loss accordingly and why we knew these lows were going to be taken. That's credit to Max there. More of an order flow thing, but you hadn't taken any of these lows essentially, and it came down. So let's see, maybe I didn't put the squiggle on here. Let's see. Yeah, no, I do. I basically show you where I'd be looking to long and how I'd be looking to trade it, right? So that stuff is out there if you want it. I'm not expecting you guys to catch every piece of TA that I put out because, that would be tough. And there's some people that think I don't put out enough. But yeah, it's one of those where it is, trading's not as hard as it seems, but it's also not as easy. And one thing that I will say is if you go into it and you're not planning your trades and you're not planning your exits, it's tough. I would say you could spread it across 3. That's safe. That's not overdoing it. Yeah, I took profits as well at 210 to 221. I used fibs as well. I just used harmonics for it. Good morning, Crypto Carnivore. I hope you're well. New member of the group. Hopefully you're finding the content useful, and I look forward to seeing those charts. Take a look at Matic. I am short on Matic, so you are in good confluence there. If you guys recall, I've been talking about this potential since October, and we were talking about this on Debate Crypto. I recently gave the setup, and so yeah, I did take this short. Again, though, you got to recall, if you're going to hold this as a short and the pattern is playing out as it should, right? We didn't quite hit the 157 target I gave. We hit 156.81, whatever. You did get a daily swing fail at the top. That doesn't mean it can't come up and take these highs again. So your stop loss right now, when you're working out risk, is above X, because that invalidates this idea, right? So if we break above X, we're probably going to rip into this gold pocket and take these highs potentially. So you can't just be holding a short up into here and like losing money. That doesn't make any sense. But you can see where my first targets are on this. I'm looking for the local gold pocket right here. And let's get rid of this 382 actually, because it's in the way. It is nice confluence, but it's in the way. Local gold pocket. Okay. So that is just the high to low of the last impulse, right? You can see that here. Easy peasy. And also would be a back test of your 12M1, really big level for us. You can see the wicks right here. So I'll be front running this level a little bit. You can see that at like 133. And then after that, you're looking for the B leg, which is technically where the range was set in and was consolidating, which you can see very clearly that's the case on the B leg right here. So you can see that this would be your next target, and you'd be looking for a back test of that region, which would imply Bitcoin remains range bound. That's the idea behind it. However, if Bitcoin breaks to the upside, doesn't see that rejection above the local highs we've been talking about, and continues up, you can't expect altcoins to bleed, at least not in the USDT pairing or USD pairing. They'll probably go higher. So I would just keep that in mind. Do you market stop loss or limit when entering the stop loss price? If it's anything with leverage, I have a hard stop on usually. So meaning that I just, it is a market stop loss at that time. If it's like a spot position, a lot of times I'll set alerts and I'll make the decision when it gets there. Rarely is it going to nuke through the area that I'm looking for to get me out of the trade. It does happen. But yeah, I usually limit out if I'm going to close like a spot position on something. But here lately, I haven't had to do that. Luckily, I've been good at buying into the lows, not FOMOing in at the highs. So I am at work watching the stream, so I'll go back and watch, get the full value tonight. Taking care of trying to glue my eyes to the screen. Definitely pay attention to what you're doing at work too, man. Again, we're not going anywhere. We're in the group pretty much 24/7. It's pretty much my life has been on Discord for the last 4 years. So definitely. So hopefully that helps, guys.
You've not been buying throughout today at these highs?
I've not been buying at the highs, no, unfortunately. You guys know me. I will never tell you to long resistance. So if we get the move that we've been on about, and this is, we hit this fib point, that's great. But if we don't, it's not going to bother me one bit if we don't hit that target up there. It sucks because I won't get to collect that 26K call back in December 14th for some clout. But as you guys know, I like to say clout does not pay your bills. So what pays your bills is planning a trade and executing. And this was a very well executed trade. And so even if it comes back down, it's a winner. I'm very happy. You're good, Matt. Matt never needs to apologize for not being in a stream. He's been around for years, so he's soaked it all in. I don't have anything else to really add, guys. I don't want to keep this going too far. It's 47 minutes. So try to keep these under an hour if possible. Plus my kids are, being as quiet as possible. If you go to leadingcrypto.io, or go to the general, so go to our Discord link here in the description, add me as a friend and shoot me a message, and I'll send you the information that way, and we can go from there.
Scan that QR code that's up there.
Or you can scan the QR code, but yeah, definitely get on the Discord and hit the general chat, shoot me a message, or I'll see you when you join. I'll add you as a friend when you join, and we'll talk shop and get you in there and get you going. Because even if you just took away and you didn't stay in the group, you just took away some of the lessons and started applying it to your everyday charting expertise and applying this in good risk management, it's going to help you along the way. And pricing wise, that's a very small investment in my opinion, in order to potentially reap better rewards and not get it all back by any means, because that's not the right approach, but to start making consistent gains and you're not putting yourself at risk for things like sell and FTX. Obviously, that's unfortunate scenarios. But guys, I'm going to pop off here. Just rewinding back tape now, champs. Working and watching you boys. Thanks for taking a look at Matic. Of course. You guys, thank you for tuning in again. I'm going to be live on Sin City today at 1 o'clock Central Time. Be with those guys. Love that show. So if you're not out there showing those guys support, definitely go show them support, because they're putting on one of the better shows, I think, in crypto right now in terms of content and news. Very entertaining. And I think that you guys are pretty early to that channel. I think it's going to be very large. And then again, CVO will be live tonight to cover altcoins, probably Ethereum pretty in depth with Forrest on Cystine research. So we'll post those links in the group and we can go from there. All right, guys. I will catch you guys in the next one.